Good evening. This is WHFS Bethesda, Maryland, and joining us here in the studio is Robert Gordon and Link Wray, who were just in town last night, right at the Bayou, and we understand had a real fine show.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was great.
Tore the house down. I saw you over at the Psyche like a few weeks back, and this is an entirely different band that you had with you last night, right?
Yeah, the Psychedelic was well, the two of the guys was with me for a long time. You know, Ed Sinar and Jack Van Horn. X, the drummer, is a new kid that I've been playing around with, something on my own. Mm-hmm. But the band that we had last night was the band that we recorded with Robert. Like Robert said, the drummer and Robert, myself, and the bass player was played with Joe Cocker and played with Lou Reed. His name is Buffalo Bill, right?
Bill Galba.
Yeah,
right.
I call him Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
And the guitar player is Jerry Matthews, who played with Howie, right?
That's
in New
right.
York.
That's right.
And that's the Robert Gordon Wildcats. That's who's going to go on the tour with us. But the guys that played at Psychedelic was somebody that played with me.
You guys got together in New York doing club circuits, or what? How did you guys get together to begin with?
Basically, we got together through Richard Goddard, my producer, and Link was kind enough to come into the city, you know, to see how we'd get along together, and we hit it off real good, so we went in and cut some tunes, you know.
Mm-hmm. You really dig rockabilly music.
Yeah, I love it.
And the liner notes on your album say that. Also, it says that you missed, or didn't miss, but didn't relate to the 1960s. I can't believe that. Is that true? You didn't like anything in the 1960s?
Well, actually, that's not quite true. I did. I was going to the Howard Theater a lot in the early 60s, you know, early to mid 60s, when all the really good black groups were playing there. We'd see like 6 acts on a bill at a time, you know, and that was exciting. What's
your favorite song on the new Robert Gordon album? I know that's a biased question, but what do you like?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think I like one of the ballads, I Sure Miss You.
Okay, well, why don't we play that,
all right,
and then come back and talk some more. This is Robert Gordon. Robert, you were in a band in New York, which I guess you would categorize, music is categorized these days as punk rock. And the band was the Tuff Darts, right?
Yeah, that's right.
How did you wind up there? And what I'm saying is, how did you get into that? And then now you're into this.
Yeah, well, I sort of got sidetracked. You know, that was really my first introduction to the New York music scene, and it was actually sort of a signature punk band. You know, it was like before the word was even being used, or new wave. And I was with that group for about a year and a half. Mm-hmm. But I just, I didn't want to stick with it because it was just not the type of music I really loved, you know. And so I got back to my roots.
You have to be a versatile musician. I mean, you can tell that just by listening to what they were doing and what you're doing now. And we'll listen to something from it, I guess, if you'd like to.
Sure, man.
And we'll come back and talk some more. Let's talk about CBGBs. That's someplace I've never been, but that's one of the most prominent clubs in New York.
Psychedelic. It's just a hangout for kids. You know, they come, they want to hear good music, and it's really CBGB is just a place for hanging out for kids that do love to hear good music, and you can't get it at showcase places.
That's right.
You know, you only get showcase music. And Psychedelic, you don't get showcase, but you get good music. You know, you get people like Mayall. You get really good bands that play what the kids want to hear. You know, it might be not the top entertaining bands, but you get really good music, and that's what CBGB's is.
Yeah, CBGB's, I tell you, man, when I first started going there about, I guess 2.5 years ago, it was really just a club that mostly bands frequented, you know. like I'm friendly with television, with the Ramones, with Richard Hell, Blondie, just all the groups.
They all started at CBGB?
Yeah, everybody started there, and like
Mick DeVille?
Sure, Mick DeVille.
Talking Head,
Patti Smith was there.
Smith,
all of them, and the place is really it's changed in a way, but the atmosphere is still the same. It's like it's a good place to just go and have a good time. I mean, people think the Bowery, on the lower east side is really a sleazy place, but it ain't that bad. You go in there and you can have a good time.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. I'm sure they appreciate the commercial.
Right.
So you, Robert, are you spending a lot of time in New York these days?
Yeah, well, that's where I live. I've been there for 7 years, and I'm looking forward to the road. From what I've seen, this is really my first full-fledged tour, but I'm really enjoying it. I was a little concerned about my voice, singing so much, but it's getting stronger.
It'll get stronger.
Yeah,
it will.
And I got a lot of support behind me. Right. If anything ever happens to me, I got Link here, man. He can do an hour standing on his head.
I know. Are you still doing your Elvis tribute, Link, along with?
Oh, we do, but we at the end of the show, we put a tribute to Elvis. I think we should. I think Elvis started this whole thing. I think he's the one that he took black music, like I said before. He took black music and white music and put it together to the kids, and to the whole world, not just to America, but the whole world. And I don't think the man should ever be forgotten. And as long as I'm on the stage, they're going to remember Elvis.
That's right.
As long as Robert Gordon's on the stage, they're going to remember Elvis. Because that's what got me with Robert Gordon. Because I thought Robert Gordon sounded like Elvis when he was on Sun, the early Elvis. And that's when I heard Robert sing, even not just meeting him and liking his personality, I said, yeah, that's got to win,
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has a style.
Right.
Robert Gordon style.
Right, and I'm from the South, and Presley's from the South, and Robert's is from Bethesda, but still he's got that southern feel, man. He sounds like the early Elvis,
Right.
And I dig that. Yeah.
What do you think of cats like Little Elvis?
I don't know. I've never heard him.
Never heard him.
So I have no comment.
Okay. I meant to ask you that before anyway.
Yes. I mean, I'm not putting them down. I just say I have no comment because I haven't heard them.
It's funny because you haven't seen hide nor hair of him since the death of Elvis. I haven't seen any publicity done on him.
Who is he, one of those sort of imitators?
He's an imitator.
And, I think that's pretty sad, actually.
Yeah, but he was doing it while the cat was alive, so...
Well, see, Robert doesn't try to... Robert does not... This is what I like about this whole trip. Robert is real. He's no phony, because I can't stand phony's tongue.
Yeah.
And Robert is not trying to imitate. He just gets out there and sings, and it just comes out like it comes out with that early Sun Memphis
it's all the
feel, because his idols are from that. He likes Gene
right.
Vincent, Eddie Cochran, and of course he loves Elvis Presley like I do,
Right.
But that's where he gets. That's where, like he said, he wanted to go back to his roots a while ago when you said, "What do you think about leaving Tuff Darts and getting into this trip?" That's who he's been listening to from the kid. Like he used to say, he used to come see me when at Glen Echo. That's who he really. That's where his head is. You know what I mean?
Well,
I mean, if a guy likes Bing Crosby, he's going to have a little Bing Crosby in his voice when he sings. If a guy likes Frank Sinatra, he's going to sound like a bit like Frank Sinatra when he sings, because you tend to go that way if you like him. It doesn't mean that you're imitating. My early guitar players is Chet Atkins, Grady Martin, George Jones, and so I try to play like them a little bit. I tried to, but I couldn't, but I tried.
Well, that's the point I was trying to make. Robert has a style of his own.
Right, he does.
And
no imitating.
People will see that when they see him in concert.
That's it. That's the whole thing. A lot of people have asked me, well, are you worried about being tagged as an oldies thing or recreating something? And I don't feel that way. I think when people see the live show, they'll pick up on just the fact that it's something that I really believe in, and that it's authentic because this is the way I feel.
I don't believe in the word nostalgia.
Yeah. Well, you're one to say that because
right.
You've got the 50s with you. Yeah, I see.
I got the 80s with me, man.
Yeah.
Well, all my friends.
Okay, that was Robert Gordon and Link Wray and the Wildcats from the new album. So the new album, not this one, but the next one coming out, what's that going to contain, would you say?
Well, there's a couple tunes that we're doing in the live show now that I want to include. A song that Gene Vincent did called 5 Days, 5 Days, and one song from, excuse me, from the movie The Girl Can't Help It called 20 Flight Rock. And we have a lot of, excuse me, some original things coming on. Link wrote a song that I'd really like to do, one that was offered to Presley in about 1957, which almost got to him. I think one of the
songwriters, yeah. Well, back in those days, Presley had two songwriters, Johnny Beanstalk and Freddie Beanstalk. Mm-hmm. One of the Beanstalk brothers didn't like it. The other Beanstalk brother did like it, and that's how close I became getting a Presley song out of it.
I'm glad he didn't, though, because we're going to get it.
Yeah,
we're going to get it. And let's see. Well, Bruce Springsteen wrote us a new song, which is real good.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called Fire. It's going to be on the next record.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be something really to look forward to. And you say the new album should be out when?
February, I believe.
So the first part of next year.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then I'm going to play something else from the album. Well, on the new album, the song The Fool, okay, you've credited Lee Hazelwood for writing it, and it came out on another album about the same time, on the Animals album, and they've credited someone else for writing it. So I've always wondered who wrote the song,
A lot of times writers take other people's songs and give their self-credit. Mm-hmm. It happened with Jack the Ripper.
Right.
The guys, guy that had Wipeout, they took Jack Ripper and credited themselves writers, which I was writer, and it was Annabelle Music Publishing. A lot of times they do that, and sometimes they put the wrong publishing on, not knowing actually who was publishing, who the writer was, instead of, searching and finding out who did it, they just, like, I'm on a recording song, and some guy said, well, this guy wrote it. And so you say, oh, so this guy wrote it, and you put it down without searching to find out who the real writer is, That goes on a lot.
I should dig it up and show it to you, and show you who was given credit on the other version of The Fool. But you remember the British band The Animals. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they did a reunion album, and it was just about the same time that you guys' album came out.
Actually, their album came out after ours.
Yeah.
And I had always wanted to cut this song. I used to sing the song when I was 15, And I was really knocked out. Somebody said, well, the new Animals album, they did The Fool on. Mm-hmm. And I took a listen to it, and they do it pretty good,
Oh, it's a real good song, and you do a real good version of it.
I haven't heard their version of it.
It's good.
Well, I'll show it to you later on. Let me talk to you for a second, Link.
Okay.
You have been through a couple of decades of rock and roll.
I've been here a while.
Right. And I'm sure you've seen recording studios go through a lot of changes, especially being an instrumental guitarist like you are. And
I've seen recording studios. The first recording studio I've seen was in a radio station like this. Mm-hmm. Radio stations had a big room, like a recording studio, and they had one track like we're recording on, right now, and that was your recording, and you'd take one overall mic, right? And the whole band, the singer, would go into this one mic, and it went from that. Like Rumble was on one track machine, and I've seen it go from one track to a 24 track.
It's gotten really sophisticated.
Yes, it really has
as the years go on. Let's get back to something on the new album, Robert Gordon and Link Wray on the Private Stock Records. We have here in the studio a version of Billy Lee Riley's Red Hot. So why don't we listen to that and listen to your version, okay?
All right, good idea.
My gal is red hot, your gal ain't doodles.
So you guys have been on the road for how long since the new album has been out?
Well, the Washington date we did last night was actually our third date.
Mm-hmm.
We've been in Boston and Connecticut, and we got a lot of stops to make. We're going to be out for about 5 weeks.
How were you being received in New England?
Oh, it was great. It was really incredible. When we came out on the stage in Connecticut, it was like the place exploded. They were really ready for us.
Yeah, really beautiful.
And where do you go from here?
Let's see. Well, tonight we're going to be in Baltimore. Then we'll go to Wilmington, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Minnesota. A lot of stops. L.A., San Francisco,
Houston, Dallas,
Baton Rouge, and New Orleans.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
So the whole country will get into your new record, pardon me. Any possibility you guys might be doing something live, like a TV show? Or?
Yeah, Richard was talking about that. He in fact, on this tour, he was talking about getting Wally Hyder. He was talking about getting Wally Hyder's remote control truck, set up a thing and do some things, for the future. Yeah.
But also when we get in LA, they're talking about either a Saturday Night Live or a midnight special or something. Hopefully, I'd really love to do a Saturday night.
That'd be good. Get a lot of exposure that way. You've been playing with any bands on the road? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, we played with John Mayall in Boston. Fantastic guy.
Uh-huh.
He was fantastic. He came out in his leather bathing suit.
Yeah, we got on real good with them. We're gonna
they're great, man.
Yeah.
I
We're going to be
John
doing a
Mayall.
date with
Tom Waits.
Tom Waits.
Yeah, we're doing
He was
in Cincinnati.
real good.
And we're going to be playing with Jay Giles and
Jay Giles at Winterland in San Francisco. Yeah, I played with Jay Giles before.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic. All these guys. Yeah.
Well, again, gentlemen, I'd like to thank you.
Tom, it's been my pleasure. This is my second time.
I know.
Yeah,
Well, I
that's
want
been
you to
real
come
nice.
Beautiful
back.
person, man, and I really appreciate. I want to appreciate all the spins you've given us, on this album.
Yeah, I'll second that, man.
Well, I want you to come back. Feel free to come back anytime.
Hey, this is my home. This is my hometown, man.
And I want to thank you for the vegetarian book that you sent to me.
Oh,
man.
that's cool.
Fantastic.
That's cool.
All right.
They'll appreciate that commercial,
right.
too. Link played disc jockey the last time he was up, so maybe
Far out.
you'll pull some records sometime.
Oh,
come
I'd love
back and
to.
visit us.
I'd love to even bring some of my things down sometime.
Why don't you?
Yeah.
We'll set that up for sure.
Great.
Again, thank you, gentlemen, Link Wray and Robert Gordon, and good luck on your new album forthcoming and the tour that you have underway.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you, Tom.
So long.